All right, traders, good afternoon. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Wednesday, March 18th. So, whew, another crazy one. And I know there's like various different things shutting down, like what? Basically everything. I don't have to list them. I was going to say Disney. I was going to say what we heard AMC theaters closing. I'll tell you, with this market, you've got enough entertainment, and even probably best if you just want to sit back with popcorn, and you don't even have to do anything, and it's still extremely entertaining. If you were just sitting on the sidelines, if you're involved in it day to day, it's kind of more of a roller coaster. So if you like roller coasters, but there's plenty of plenty of action going on in the market on a day to day basis. It's with the limit up and the limit down every day. I mean, this is, I believe, unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this. I've been trading since back. I started my career again back in '98. Again, I'm showing my age here a bit. That's when I started as an intern at Dean Witter. Don't hear that name anymore. But anyway, so I've traded through a bunch of these things. And of course, I was an institutional trader back in 2008. But this is just, it's much faster. The pace is faster, and uh, yeah, and the moves are crazy. I mean, I remember it being very fast then. So anyway, I'll move on because I don't want to dwell on that. I know a lot of people are talking about their times back then, but it is very very fast. And the thing that I'm getting a lot of questions about. Do I think the bottom is in, and do you think this is a good time to buy, and so forth? Well, first of all, I can't tell you what to do, right? I can't give out recommendations. I could tell you what I'm thinking. So number one observation is, remember, like, trade what market is in front of you. Now again, I am not, like, day trading is not my number one game, right? That's not what my favorite thing to do is. I'm more of a swing trader. But these day trades that you could do every day, you don't even have to, like, the less risk that you're wearing. And this is something that I've been talking about for weeks, but I'm just reiterating this because I'm getting a lot of questions. And I think also in the back of my mind too, I want to be doing more long-term buying than what I've been doing. And but trade the market that's in front of you. These swings are ridiculous. The move at the end of the day and the move off of the midday halt that we had, has was insane today. So let's look at the price action for the day, and then I'll come back to this. But yeah, this was the move down. Where was the halt? Was it the halt was what, in here? I think it was. And then look at how far down we went after that. I tell you, I was expecting a halt and maybe like a little bit of a move down, and then kind of a balance after that. And I mean, this is a crazy move, an intraday move from 2 o'clock till the end of the day. So I don't know if it's, complete, if it's short covering, people taking profits at this point in their shorts, and that causes a little bit of a snap, like we're seeing. Remember, in bear markets, right? This is something that you see a lot. You see these rip your face off rallies. We've seen a couple of these in the last 2 weeks, but you just have to really stay disciplined. I'll tell you, on the close, I mean, because I day traded, I'll go through my day trades, but I was looking to, like, I'm honestly, I'm thinking that we might get some follow through tonight and into tomorrow, and then who knows what happens in the morning? Maybe sellers come back in, but I think that the way that we closed, I would think that we would have some follow through in the overnight session to the upside. So I wanted to buy some Qs. I didn't because I already have enough exposure on. I've got a little bit of Amazon on. I've got Microsoft Leaps on, and I bought a little bit of Chipotle today too. So I'm like, you know what? I don't need to load the boat, especially with as fast as this market is moving. If I'm right and the market's up, I'll be rewarded for it. But I don't need to, like, come in the morning, and if I'm wrong, if something comes out overnight, and to come in and be devastated right in the morning, which we've seen that. So you just really have to, like, weigh the pot, the risk to the reward, right? And it's really difficult digging yourself out of a hole when the market comes in and we're, like, gap down again and you're positioned the wrong way. So the easiest it gets is the less positions that you have on right now. And again, there's nothing new. That's the way it's been now for weeks. So let's try to ask the question, and let's look at the sectors first just to see what happened today. Amazing move in bonds as well. I think, and again, I'm getting some questions about that, like what's going on with bonds, right? Second day that they're down. But it's really one of those things where people are looking. I think my interpretation is that people are selling anything, and they're piling up cash. They're very worried, right? When you see everything go down, that usually means that uh, people have a lot of fear. They don't even want to be in bonds, at this point. So gold is down too, right? And it's a couple times now. I think, well, I think yesterday too, everything was down across the board too. People really want cash in this situation. You hear so many different headlines and so forth. So that's kind of the takeaway there. I don't think there's any like divergence there or anything with bonds being down. I think that people just do not want to be in these things right now with the volatility. I mean, the volatility in the bonds is crazy. All right. What? Yeah. What's there? There is an index for that. Um, the Move index. This is Treasury volatility. Let's see where this thing is. It looks like it may have actually come in a little bit. Let me just make this into a line. Let's see. How do I do this? Data line. Yeah, that's weird. It says it's actually come in from the highs, but I guess that makes a little bit of sense. So, do we have a bottom yet in equities? Well, the thing that I keep going back to, and again, I like to go through a few different things. Let's look at the VIX first. So the VIX had another high of 85, right? I believe that's the high that we've made. Yeah. So the VIX made a high of 85 today, and it did not close above or did not close below the 5 period moving average, which is what I'm looking for, a short-term trend change. So we don't have that yet, right? So there's no change in trend in the VIX. So that's not telling me that the bottom doesn't appear to be in there, right? If we go to the S&P, and I'm going to use futures here, but SPY is going to look different. This does look like a hammer. So on the positive, this does look like a hammer bar that's developed. Notice that you don't see that on SPY. So it really depends on what you're using, right? SPY is just like a normal kind of candle. Interesting that there's a VPOC hanging around here. That's still, this is back from 2017 that's there from. It's amazing how much we're retracing here. But so this is a hammer bar, but we did not retake the 5 period moving average. So there's really there's not much that you could take away from here. One candle is not a pattern, right? It's when you're looking for a reversal, it's usually 3 bars, right? So we can't really make any conclusions from this. One thing that was kind of interesting is, and we did make a new low today, but we did not reach oversold. So there's a little bit of divergence in the RSI, right? People like to look for divergences, including myself. Technicians like to look for divergences, meaning that when we make a new low, we should be making a new oversold on here. And notice that we didn't. Remember, here we made a low, RSI was sold off. Here we made another low, the RSI, but again, it hasn't really been making new lows all along the way. So I don't know if that's enough to really constitute anything. So let's look at IWM. I know that some people may argue with me on this one, but I want to see IWM like outperform SPY. That would be one factor to look at too, and that didn't do it today either. All right, so I would love to say and going back to what I started to say earlier about adding to one of my long-term accounts, and I have the TTG tactical portfolio, which I think I've added once to it in the last 2 weeks, and I was actually going to do it today, and I was kind of like I can't do it today. So I need to see, again, my job isn't to pick bottoms, right? No one's going to be able to do that successfully over time to try to pick the actual bottom. What I'm looking for is confirmation, and sometimes that doesn't happen in just one day. I'm looking for confirmation that buyers are coming back into the market, not just short covering, which is probably what we saw more than anything at the end of the day. So be patient. And if you like things, like, again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not giving any advice or recommendations. If this is attractive levels for you long term, we hear a lot of talking heads on TV talking about, hey, this is going to be, great long-term buying opportunity and so forth. It may be. I'm just waiting for some things to materialize a little bit more. Like, Amazon. There's certain stocks that are starting to perform a little bit better. Amazon was actually up today. It's a name that I've been, trading. Probably not every day, but every other day. But this is starting to look attractive to me. I mentioned yesterday some stocks are starting to, make some sense. The names that um, you know, people are buying out stores, right, and hoarding. It is what it is. That's good for names like Walmart and Rite Aid, and let me zoom out here. Right, so there are some companies that should be benefiting from this, and it's nice to see them actually up. CVS is just not doing it. I don't know why, but doesn't seem to be moving like some of the others. One of the names that, again, I think I may have talked about yesterday was Blue Apron. I mean, look at the move in Blue Apron. It's got about a 40% short interest. So this, again, makes sense to me, right? Why is Blue Apron going up? Because they're meal delivery, right? I mean, they're going to benefit from this situation. People are ordering things, including myself, products. I would much rather get goods delivered than have to deal with what's going on in stores right now. So yeah, that's a straight name that's benefiting from it. And it was a $2 stock. You're talking about a stock that was $2 with a high short interest. It's going to squeeze. All right. So what else? ServiceNow I thought was pretty good. Nice looking bar in here. Again, you could wait till it gets above. Again, you don't have to dive into these things for a swing trade or a long-term trade. You could wait till it gets above the 200-day moving average. That's what I'm looking for. This was a nice trade for me. Uh, but again, like, if you go through the blotter, like, I got stopped out in a couple things today midday. Uh, which is very frustrating. So again, you have to keep the morale. Like, I got into some Zoom today. I hit one quick target in Zoom, and then I got stopped out in the rest of it. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I'm out of Zoom, and then later, in like 20 minutes later, then it's back to the highs. So it is what it is. But again, I'm staying super disciplined because I don't want any major losses right now. And in this volatility, you have to stay super disciplined. I went into this. I just figured, I took actually a little bit more risk than I usually do, and I bought the Amazon this week 1790 1790 1805 call spread, $15 wide for $7, and I couldn't get this thing. I was trying to hit a target at $10. I couldn't get it. I got one at 830. I think I got one too at 850. That's it. Like, the market makers are just not budging. For the most part, again, I'm trying to stay out of options because the market makers are ridiculous in this stuff. And I'm trading things. I mean, look at the money that I made in ServiceNow at the end for an end of day trade. Last target was 272 and paid 263. I mean, that's a nice trade. Uh, and that's what, $9 on. Yeah, it's a 3% move. So again, talking about what I said in the beginning of the video, these are where the opportunities are. You can make, that's 3.4% on a trade that I held for like 15 minutes. And then again, that's the last target. That's not the whole trade. But look at the Chipotle trade too. Chipotle looked like it was holding pretty decently too. That's a 2.2% move in like 5 minutes. So, or 10 minutes. I think it was an end of day trade. So while these moves or swings are happening, you know, that's where the opportunity is, and you can try to hold on as best you can, when you get an end of day ripper like we had today. All right, guys, that's it. Option activity again is all over the place. What I'm seeing is just a lot of rolling of puts. Friday's option expiration. I thought it was interesting that they called off the index rebalance, the S&P. I don't know if Nasdaq did that as well, but I know the S&P did. But we're just seeing a lot of rolling of winning trades, a lot of put buying this morning, and then we saw some things like J.P. Morgan. There were some Apple calls that were this morning as well. A little bit more Gilead. There was this order of TQQQ that caught my eye. This was right before that big move. Which sometimes gives me a little bit of confidence. Again, I really try not to take many of these option trades. I kind of just try to use them for a little bit of a signal because I want nothing about getting trapped in an option trade at this point. But these were the March 40 calls. Again, TQQQ is the levered Nasdaq or levered Qs. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Again, take one day at a time, and again, just try not to. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just trying to be as patient as possible with this market. And again, the way that I'm looking at things, I'm not going to pick the absolute bottom. I'm going to wait for when I see some nice technical signals, and hopefully a couple of them at the same time. All right, guys, have a great night and see you tomorrow.